All right.
All right. So this is the verdict where we don't have a catchphrase yet. We need intro
Yep.
catchphrases. Yep. We
It's
have
coming.
no.
It's in the pipeline.
What are other people's catchphrases when they start? I don't know any other podcasts that have catchphrases or things. They just kind of get into it, I guess. But I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah. We need something a little fun or catchy. Maybe an intro music song. That's what we need or something. But
Yeah, when you
whatever.
talk about intro music, it always reminds me of that. Did you watch like Strong Bad emails on Homestar Runner?
I have no idea what you're talking about. No.
Oh, okay. That's for another another episode. But I won't even get into it. They just talked about theme songs one time and it was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure that one out. But what we can do is introduce ourselves, which is we're the verdict. Doing verdict.io. We got a YouTube channel that we are going to start doing video essays. I'm currently working on my first video essay, and I know you're in the working on yours, and
Yep.
hopefully getting a good website out soon too. I'm really excited about that. We'll be able to post articles, post our videos, and things like that. And we just like to talk about stories on this channel, whether it's movies, video games, TV shows. I don't know. We like stories.
Yeah. All of the above and more.
Yeah, exactly. What we're going to talk about today is, Cameron, you've been bringing this up a lot, is you want to talk about remake culture, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Remake culture.
So, like, that's a big discussion that we keep procrastinating, but I'm like, no, we're finally going to talk about this time, is remake culture. You've got a lot of opinions. I've got some opinions that I'll probably piggyback on as you as well. But as always, we start each podcast, each episode, we do My Life Has Been a Lie moment. And so, Cameron, what was a time that you realized your life has been alive and you learned something new?
Yeah. So this one happened this week and I'm actually pretty embarrassed about it. Um, so my life is a lie. I used to think there were like 10 to 15 different versions of the Xbox One. Like I thought there were just like a dozen versions. And I just found out there's only 5 versions. It's
Oh,
the original.
go
What's
ahead.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, the original Xbox One,
Hmm.
Xbox One S, Xbox One X,
Yeah.
Xbox One Series S, and Xbox One Series X. And first off, I just think it's really confusing and not good
Dumbest
marketing.
names of all time. Who was the
Yeah.
marketing team that went from like Series X? Like, this is different. We swear. Like, that's dumb.
Yeah, it just makes no sense to me. But I legitimately thought there were a dozen different versions. And that's just, yeah. I found out this week I was very wrong about that.
Who
Not that
skipped the?
wrong, though, because
Yeah.
half as many as I thought there were.
Wasn't there like an iPhone skipped a number? Someone like, or was it Samsung? I think Samsung did it where their Galaxy series they wanted to catch up with the iPhone or something, so they just started at like Galaxy S8 or something like that. I remember I used to work at
That's good.
T-Mobile, and I thought like the numbering system was really dumb that they do that. I was like, well, come on, don't be your own thing. Like, come on, like stop with like that's what we missed our calling, man. We should have been naming convention people like we'll start our own business and we'll just name things for people. All right. And they come with a lot better names they have.
Yeah.
The two people who can't come up with a catchphrase for the podcast, but we'll be able to name things for large companies, billions of dollars things.
Yeah. Well, I'll also just say that the Xbox, its naming convention is just kind of weird anyways. I mean, you go Xbox original, Xbox 360, Xbox One. It's like,
Well, yeah, like
why'd you go to the one?
as a consumer, I don't know what those numbers mean. Like, I don't know what 360
Yeah.
means to Xbox One. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me as a consumer. Where at least the numbering system of
Yeah.
like iPhones or the Samsungs, it's like, yeah, it's the iPhone 16 because the last model you had was the iPhone 15. This makes sense, like you just keep going up the number
Who would
system.
have thought?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, Kyle, that's enough from me. What's your life is a lie this
Oh,
week?
mine's a dumb. It just kind of shows how dumb I am, which is,
Two dumb ones.
I was old. Like I'm embarrassed to say how old I was, but I was like 25. I want to say maybe 24, where I learned the word grateful is not spelled GREATFUL, but GRATFUL. Like
That's
I
good.
was old. Like, I was like, what? And I'm pretty sure it was like an autocorrect on my phone or something that kept doing it. I'm like, why is this? What's done with this phone? I'm like, oh yeah, because I'm the idiot and I don't know how to spell the word grateful.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty good. Wait, when you were 24, I mean, you were probably typing on a one of the old school phones, right? Or
No,
did you have
I'm
a
old. I don't know. It depends on what your definition of old school phones are. What did I have?
like
I actually
just the number
avoided
pad?
smartphones for a while, like a really long time. I was really late to the game to get a smartphone. I held on to my BlackBerry for a long time. Do you remember Blackberries with the
Yeah.
keypad on it? I held on to it a lot longer than I'm pretty sure it was already banned in a lot of countries and they stopped making them. But as long as it was working, I kept using it type of thing. And then, gosh, I don't even remember what my first smartphone. It wasn't an iPhone. I'm pretty sure it was a Samsung. That's what I got first, or yeah, an LG. I can't remember. Um, but yeah, I just when I was 24 or 25, something like that, I didn't know how to. Apparently, didn't know how to spell the word grateful. And there's a few others to that too. It's not just the word grateful. There's a few other ones like address. I remember. I thought it was 1D, like like a woman's dress, and then like the home
Yeah.
address. I thought they were the same word, like for like a long time. Just
Dread.
yeah.
Yeah. those are uh, those are easier to mix up, I feel like. But
What was weird? I was always very good
oh
at
well.
other words where I don't know why other people struggle with them, like there, all the different versions of there, like they
There
are
and
or
there.
there.
Yeah.
Never struggled with that. Never struggled with the twos, like TOO, TO, or TWO, or anything like that. Always thought I was pretty good with the vowel rules where it's like if it's a vowel you're supposed to do an before it. But then I realized I don't think that's the rule, and I think spelling wise I would spell it that way. But like if you say an hour, that starts with an H, so I think it's the sound of a vowel, not actually the
Yeah.
letter of a vowel is the rule, right?
You're
So I
right.
feel like I'm still pretty good about it, but I guess I'm not good at explaining what is the rule. No, because I remember
Oh man.
I was living in Chile, as you know, when I was 19, and I remember like people asking me like English questions, and I think it was when I was 19, I realized, man, I'm not very good at English myself, so I suck at English, I suck at Spanish, and I just don't have a language whatsoever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was anyways, that was my life was a live moment where I was just completely just an idiot with my spelling. I didn't know how to spell the word grateful until I was like 25 years old.
We live
What
and learn.
exactly? Are you playing any games right now? What games are you playing?
So I actually just kind of finished Bloodborne and I don't know what to play now. I was actually going to ask you, what should I play? I might play Hogwarts Legacy.
So, have you? I haven't played it yet, but I feel like this is definitely up your alley, and it's up for Game of the Year. Metaphor. Have you heard of Metaphor yet?
Yes. Yes, I downloaded the demo. I have not played it yet.
No, because a lot of people just say like a lot of people say it's not going to win Game of the Year, but it's like man, it's up there. Like a lot of people think it should, but understand like it's probably not going to win Game of the Year. Um,
Yeah.
that's another like crazy topic where Elden Ring DLC got nominated as Game of the Year, which
Yeah.
is that's upsetting a lot of people, and I understand that. But I also look at the other games and I'm just like, not a very good selection this year. 2024 wasn't exactly a home run as it was with 2023. But
Yeah.
Metaphor is one of the games of Game of the Year. I haven't tried it, but I saw the trailer and I was like, this is Cameron's game, like 100%
Yeah.
JRPG and all that
Very
stuff.
Japanese.
Yeah.
I was actually texting my friend about this, and my big hesitation to start it or to buy it, I guess, it's a 100-hour game, and I
Oh yeah.
just don't know if I want to jump into a 100-hour game right now. Um,
All right.
it's
So
just big.
as you keep bringing up that you want to talk about remakes and stuff like that, and it's a
Yeah.
big topic that you want to. Here's mine, which is I think we put too much emphasis on cost of a game, which is something to consider when you're buying a game. Obviously, the cost,
Yeah.
but time is another one too. Where why I don't buy a game does have to do with time, which is like I have a limited amount of time to play a game. So, like you just said, it if a game's going to be 100 hours, then you're not sure you want to commit to that. But it's a very weird balance because there's other games that like are only 10 hours and they're a AAA game. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to spend
Yeah.
$70 for a game that's only 10 hours. So it's like, I understand that I'm the problem there, right? Like, I got to like pick one. Um, but once you find a game you love, you're very grateful it's so long. So, for example, I'm playing Red Dead
Yes.
Redemption 2 right now, and that one I'm just like, yeah, I'm beyond like I don't want this to end. I'm glad it takes so long. I'm because it's just amazing content, minute after minute, and that's something I do just appreciate about really long video games. Once you find one that you like really love, The Witcher 3 for me, I think is the game
Yeah.
I put the most hours in. That was just amazing storyline and all that stuff. But if I find a game that I semi like I'm okay with it. Like I wouldn't want to play a 100-hour Mario game. Like I would want it to end at some point. Like I like Mario. I just don't want to play 100 hours of the same just different levels over and over again type of thing. So like
Yeah.
Wonderland was, I think that took me 10 hours to play. Is that what it's called? Wonderland? I think it's Wonderland, the newest
I
like
don't know.
2D Mario.
Oh,
Um, I'm pretty sure
yeah,
it's called
I don't
Wonderland,
know.
but
I'm not sure.
I beat that in 10 hours, and
Yeah.
it was like the perfect amount. Like I got what I wanted out of the Mario game. It felt like a successor to the old Super Nintendo Mario, the Super Mario game. I loved it, had the same feel to it, but I also loved that they weren't dragging it on, just different levels and different paint jobs over it type of thing. So I
Yeah.
think yeah, like time is a weird thing that as a developer you have to know who your audience is and what you want. So with Metaphor, if you really like the game, I'm sure like you'd be happy that it's 100
Oh
hours,
yeah.
but
You'll
you're
definitely get
committed to 100 hours.
you'll definitely get your bang for your buck. And that's
Yeah.
actually a very interesting concept. Most games release and they're like what, 60, $70, and a game could be 10 hours long for $60, or it could
Yeah.
be 100 hours long for $60.
Yeah.
And it's just like a much better value for your dollar. But then you have to consider, like, what if it's just 100 hours of slop, and it's not a very
Which
good.
a lot of them are. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
100%. And that's the biggest reason like I wanted to start this channel was let's help people find those games that are like this is worth your time. Like you want to play this
Yeah.
game, it's going to be worth it type thing. I have opinions about
Bloodborne.
popular games that are not that good and might be they just got popular for various reasons. Marketing, might be one of the cases.
Yeah.
But like if you've never heard of Hades, it's worth your time up until you beat like the final boss. They add this aspect to it where it almost doubles the runtime of the game, and it's not worth playing it. Just YouTube the ending.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
so like that's my opinion of Hades. Like, there's this aspect where the whole game of Hades, you have to repeat yourself over and over again. Like, that's you die and try again, you try again, and you try again, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like what makes it fun. You get a little bit better each time, and you get little perks to being that makes it a little bit easier to get through the rounds. But you do beat a final boss, and you think the game's over, and then you
And
meet
then it's
someone and they say, hey, I need you to come back. They make up a reason why that you're going to die again, and then it's like you're doing it now over and over again, and it's almost double the length of the game. It's just like, this was what are you guys doing? Like, it was clearly over and they just didn't know when to end, like fully end the game. And so Hades, phenomenal game, go play that one. I recommend that game over Hades 2 because Hades 2 right now is still in early access mode. But it's a really fun game. But once you beat the final boss, just stop there and go YouTube the final cutscene.
good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that on my backlog, but I have not gotten close to playing it yet. So
Hades, for me, Hades, it's a good one for you if you're like, I've got 20 minutes to kill. I'm not in the mood to get into like maybe like Metaphor, like an RPG right now.
yeah,
I just want, it's almost like why people like mobile games. They pick out their phone and they just, something to kill time with.
yeah,
Hades is one of those games. If you just want to go kill 20 minutes and slowly but surely, move up levels. They're really good.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm just still currently playing Red Dead Redemption again.
One or two?
And two. I've actually never
Okay,
played
I
one.
thought it was two. Yeah,
Yeah, I've never played one before. It's been highly recommended. I don't know. I just keep hearing that they're going to do a remake of it, a remastered version. Maybe I wait out for that. I don't know. But I'm really enjoying Red Dead Redemption 2. I think it's just a phenomenal game, and I'm trying to do other aspects that I didn't do before. I was like a really good, Arthur Morgan before, and now I'm trying to like
you
what
a
are choices I
villain.
wouldn't normally make.
Yeah. Yeah. So I actually played a few hours of Red Dead 1, and I really liked it.
Oh yeah.
but it wasn't quite my niche. And so I really enjoyed it. And I was like, this is a phenomenal game, and I'm not going to keep playing it. I just never, didn't like hook me, you know. I could tell it was a great game. I enjoyed what I did play. It just didn't hook me.
Well, I get that 100%. Remember, we were just talking about last week where Stray Gods was not targeted towards me at all. It's
Yeah.
meant for probably more teenage girls, and that's what the game's for. But I definitely appreciated this is a good quality game. Like it's written really well. I'm just not its target audience, and but I still
Yeah.
finished it. I still thought it was really really good. But like it's okay to like understand why games are great, but it's not for you. You know, like I think that's like different flavors of ice cream. Like you definitely like your certain flavor of ice cream, and just because you like vanilla and someone likes Rocky Road doesn't mean that Rocky Road needs to leave the store or anything like that. So I think that's very okay. I That's actually a quick side question that wasn't planned. I want to know what's the biggest game that you know of that was popularity wise, but you're just like that's not my cup of tea.
Um, Quite possibly Red Dead Redemption.
Red Dead Redemption.
Um,
Yeah.
because everyone, well, I never started to, but everyone just raves about it. They say it's the best game they've ever played. They say they wish they could lose their memory and start over. And I just, from my experience from one, I'm just not in a hurry to start two. So
Yeah.
I
Um,
don't doubt it's a phenomenal game though.
I get it though. There's aspects where I think they could have improved on. Like the money system is a little odd late, especially late game, where I was hoping for a little bit more. Like I could build a house or something. I don't know. Like you make a ton of money and you only get so much out of it type thing. But it's also like you want that realism in a video game. If you really like realism, they really shoot for that, like
Yeah.
how a horse gallops and you have to go hunting and like it takes time to to go hunt a deer. Like they really try to hone in on that realism.
Yeah.
um I think I'm gonna get like some eyes rolled when I say this is God of War. Actually, I had to force myself to play God of War because you know me, I'm hard to please when I first play something. It's hard for me to really get into something, but I trust my friends and I trust them. I'm like, okay, so if you were to recommend something to me and I don't like it at the start, I'll walk away for like a week and I'll try again because I know I'm the problem, right? Like I need to just like whatever, mental block I'm having on this game because everything you've recommended to me has been phenomenal. I got God of War recommended so many times and I've tried it and I've tried it and I never got over that wall of like, oh, I see what people are talking about here. And I think the problem is that when I was trying it, I was such into an open world phase playing The Witcher 3. I
Yeah.
just wanted the open world again. And
It's
I'm
more
now out of
linear.
that phase. I don't care about open world, but I think that was the problem for me, where it was I was playing The Witcher 3 at the same time. And every time I was playing God of War, I was like, I'd rather be playing The Witcher 3 right now.
Yeah. Interesting. I think I got some open world burnout as well. Elden Ring and Tears of the Kingdom, like back to back, kind of did it to me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, Tears of the Kingdom, that I think that was my last like open world. I'm like, okay, I'm good now. Yeah, I got my fix for open worlds for a while. But
yeah,
anyways, back to the topic that we had on this podcast was to talk about remake culture. And so for
yes,
you, Cameron, this has been a topic you've been wanting to talk about for so long. Tell me about what is your opinion about remake culture?
yes, remake culture. I have so many thoughts and opinions about this, and really where it starts. I mean, games have been remade, for a long time, but where it really started with me was with the horror genre. And so Resident Evil started remaking some of their games. So they remade Resident Evil 2, which was one of their best games of all time. And I had never played the original, and I played the remake, and I just loved it. I thought it was so good. I've played through it probably 6 times. It is just blew me away. And I had already played Resident Evil 4, so I was really into the series and the genre already. I was pretty sold on it, but it was just a lot of fun. And then the Resident Evil 3 remake came out. and people had complaints about it. The biggest complaint was they cut too much content from the original. But I played it and I had a lot of fun with it as well. Um, but what's interesting is I went back in the last year and I played the original Resident Evil 2 and the original Resident Evil 3. And they are very different games. Um, it's not just they didn't just slap a new camera on it and, remake it scene for scene, which I don't know if you'd really want them to, but they're very different.
So if I can interject to clarify, just for like my clarity and everyone else's,
Yeah.
remake culture, you're talking about it's not just the graphics that are improved. You're
Yes.
talking like they redid the story maybe, or like what would you define remake versus remastered?
Well, remaster is kind of interesting because when I think of remaster, classically, I think of Halo 1 and Halo
That's
2
exactly what I
with the
think of
Master
too.
Chief Collection.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about the remaster for that is it's basically the same game in the same engine, and you can actually switch between the old and the new graphics, like, but just by pushing a button.
Instantly.
And
So it's just an aesthetic look, same game mechanics, same engine, like
yeah,
you said. It's just they aesthetically made it better,
yes,
or at least more modern at the time. I don't know. Some people's opinion might be that's not
yeah,
better. That's exactly the example I think in my head too. When I think of remastered, it is literally the same game. You just put a different skin over it.
yeah. And sometimes they can do other stuff. For example, I've never played them, but they're remastering like the one of the Horizon games. Did you hear about that? Um,
Yeah,
Zero Dawn, maybe, or
I'm very curious how
I
much
don't
they're actually
actually
going to
know.
improve on that. Because there's been a few remasters where, man, you got to like look really hard of the difference between the previous and the current. Because the Horizon game already looked so good. Like it was like that's one of the pulls why people played Horizon was because it was such
Yeah,
a good looking game. But I guess it was a last gen game. It was a PS4 game, so I don't know. We'll see how good it looks.
yeah, yeah. I've never played those, but I'm interested to see what that remaster looks like. And they remastered what's the other zombie game that everyone loves? The Last of Us.
The Last of Us, yeah.
And
That's what I'm referring to when I was talking. Like, it was hard to tell a difference. Like, you
yeah,
have the Last of Us like before and after. As I'm like, what did you change? Like, I guess to me that was not. It would not be worth it to me to if I already had the Last of Us to go repurchase it to like
yeah,
play it again or something like that. But obviously, if I'm gonna buy it for the first time, sure, why not? Just go get the remastered. Like that's obviously what I go with. But if the old version was on sale for like $10, no, I'd rather go play the old version for $10 than pay $60 for the remastered version.
yeah. That's actually a really good point. Because especially with like the more modern games get, it's like how much can you really change with a remaster? One of the big things is if it only has 30 FPS, they might remaster it to be 60,
60, yeah.
which is one of the massive complaints about Bloodborne is it's locked at 30 frames per second.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And everyone has just been demanding for years, like, please remaster this. And Sony just refuses to do it. So we'll see if they do.
Yeah, like a remastered game for me that I couldn't play, but now I can because it was remastered was Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Just the look of Peter Parker, it just seemed so odd to me. Like it was like a much lower quality, and the jump from that game to the remastered version, I was like, that's it. Like that's yep, I can play this one, and I'm not going to be distracted by the look of the character because that's really what it is, right? Because it's the same game mechanics. It has the same amount of fun you're going to get out of any other video game. It's just, is it going to be an eyesore to you that you're not enjoying it? And that's really
Yeah.
like what the remaster does for me. And normally I don't care, but for some reason in Spider-Man I did care. I looked at the Spider-Man, the original one, and I look at the remaster. I was like, I can't get through the original. Like I have to play a master. And it's kind of the same way with The Witcher 1 for me. I started playing The Witcher 1, man, that's hard to get through. Like the graphics don't they're really dated. And I do know that they're going for I don't know if it's remastered or remake they're doing, but I think I'm gonna wait before I play The Witcher 1. Because I played a lot of it though, and I played a lot of The Witcher 2, but I haven't finished either game of The Witcher 1 or Witcher 2. But I definitely put a lot of hours into it. But I
Yeah.
think it's because it's graphically hard to like get into. Witcher
Yeah.
2 is not that bad. I actually think I can get through Witcher 2.
Okay. I have Witcher 1 and Witcher 2, and I've been curious about starting them, but it's interesting what you say that one's just kind of hard to get into.
It's I don't know, it's an eyesore for me.
Yeah.
The game mechanics aren't all that good either. Like The Witcher 2 is good. Like they definitely did a big improvement from The Witcher 1 to The Witcher 2. Like The Witcher 2
Yeah.
is really good. And
Maybe I'll check that
I don't
out.
have an excuse for not finishing The Witcher 2. I should finish The Witcher 2.
Yeah. Um, oh, I lost my thought. Oh, yes, I tried to play what's the Elder Scrolls game? There's Morrowind, not Skyrim, but Morrowind, and what's the other one? I can't remember. I
Yeah, I don't
tried
remember.
starting one of those and it was pretty dated.
Yeah,
It's one of those games that I'm like, this would have been so fun to play as a kid.
right.
And now that I've been spoiled, like with modern graphics, I don't
Yeah.
think I can start it.
I'm the same way. Like Skyrim would have definitely been up my alley. For some reason, I just never played it. Like our friend Zach played it all the
Yeah.
time, and I just for some reason never got into it. But
Yeah.
that's a remake though. So you're talking about sorry, that's remastered is what we're
Yeah.
referring to. You're talking about remakes. So Silent Hill 2,
Yeah.
what you're saying is it's what is different
Oh,
about
Resident
Silent
Evil
Hill
2.
2
Yeah.
from original to the remastered version or remake. Sorry, I keep getting those confused.
Yeah. So it was Resident Evil 2, but I actually was going to talk about Silent Hill 2 as well because that just got remade.
Resident Evil. Sorry,
Yeah.
You said Resident Evil. I apologize. Yeah, and you
Oh,
were talking
no
about Resident
problem. I
Evil
mean, it's like
4.
essentially the same genre. So I actually wanted to bring up this point. There's this YouTube channel called the Electric Railroad or Electric Underground, and he is awesome. So check him out if you get a chance. But he has a video about the Silent Hill 2 remake, and he says this thing about it that I just love. Like I did not know how to put this into words until I heard him say it. I'll just read it. He says the key selling point of modern remakes is to take the aesthetics and narrative elements from classic games, skin them alive, and regraft their flesh onto what is essentially the corpse of an entirely different game. And that really made me laugh, but it resonated so much with me because when I went back and played Resident Evil 2 and 3, the originals, um, like the general story is the same. It's like you're in, the police station in Resident Evil 2 and you're trying to, you know, find Claire and blah, blah, blah. But everything else is like entirely different. It just feels like a completely different game. And it's not just because it has modern graphics, because interesting enough, have you ever heard of System Shock, that game?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, it's a very old 90s game and that got remade, but the remake of System Shock is essentially the exact same game. Like the whole layout of the ship, it's like a sci-fi setting, you're in a space station. The entire layout of the space station is almost identical and it's very faithful to the original. But with like Resident Evil and with what I'm hearing about Silent Hill 2 remake, is you're basically telling a different story and just like slapping the names into it of like Leon and Claire and Jill. I guess kind of like what you're talking about when you were talking about the Halo series, it's like it's basically a completely different story and they're just slapping the Halo name on it and like, hey, look, it's Halo. And it's interesting because I really do like these remakes and I don't really have a problem with remake culture, because these games are really fun, but it's just interesting to note. It's you're just kind of taking like the bare bones of the original and like, let's make a new game, let's make some money on it, and let's get it out there.
Would it be like a wrong thing to if someone wanted to summarize that like the tired narrative of like the multiverse where it's sure it is Superman, but it's
Yeah,
a different universe, so it's going to be a little bit different of their storyline. Would you say
that's
it's
a good
that, or
comparison.
is remastered a lot closer to they only changed a few things.
Um, I would maybe say it's kind of like a multiverse thing
Yeah.
almost. I want to like give a good example. It's like all the Hulk movies, It's like there's Hulk movies before Disney's Marvel, and then there's Hulk
Yeah.
movies after. And it's like
Edward
they don't
Norton
really
and stuff
relate to
like
each
that
other at all.
versus Mark Ruffalo. Yeah.
Just
I'm trying to think.
interesting.
I don't know if there is there a remake game I've played. I can give a good example. I have a lot of remastered examples to give, but I can't think of a remake game that I played the original and I played the remastered. Um, but yeah, like that's it is an interesting take, right? Like where you have an IP, you've got what was successful, was successful, but it was 20 years ago, right? So it's a little bit of a safe bet, I think, for some studios to go off of where they know the essence of this game, like the blueprint of this game is really, really good. What can we do to like use that again to guarantee ourselves success? Because
Yeah,
we're about to drop $200 million and we got to make sure that this game sells. And so I do
yeah,
think you're taking a little bit of like less of a risk with a remastered,
yeah.
but you also can upset a lot of people. Like you can, like I'm definitely one of those guys who, man, if you screw up a game I loved or a TV show I loved or an IP I loved, yeah, like that's gonna like you're gonna turn me off quickly. I'm not gonna have an open mind to this
Yeah,
new thing you've got if it's not anywhere close or better than what I'm originally used to.
yeah. You actually bring up a really good point. I didn't really think of this, but with games costing so much these days, I think companies are trying to take the safer bets.
Oh,
And
100%, yeah.
so, like, to do a remake of a game that's so beloved by fans, it's a very safe bet to say, let's throw this money at that. And we know people like it, so we know it's going to sell.
But the thing is, though, you can really destroy yourself as a studio, though, because you can just upset a lot of people. Like, for
Yeah.
example, if you and I got the funds and like the team to do it, and we were to go redo, I don't know, pick your favorite video game, like just like if like Fortnite right now. Let's say Fortnite for some reason died out.
Our
Fast
favorite
forward a few
video game,
years later, and we're
Fortnite.
like, we're gonna redo Fortnite, right? And it's nowhere near like what it was, like what it is now. It's just like you're gonna get a bunch of people who are just like mad at you, and you're like, don't
Yeah.
trust the studio. It's a scam, whatever that type of thing. But I promise you, we still made a ton of money on the first release because people have to play it because it's Fortnite. Like it's what you know and love a ton, type thing. And so
Yeah.
that's exactly what we keep bringing up. Is my opinion with the Halo TV series is they've canceled Halo the TV series. If they were to come back and say, guess what, we're doing season 3 now, I'm watching it. Like
Oh,
I'm gonna
no.
hate and throw my freaking shoe at the TV, but I'm watching it. Why? It's Halo. Like I love Harry Potter, Star Wars, and Halo. I think that's like my top 3 right there. Right? Like it's Halo. It means too much to me, so I have to watch it. Like I have to see who's got the most amount of money to tell a series about my favorite IP of Halo. Like, yeah, I've got to watch it. So I think that would be a risk if you're to start like a remake. Is what IP are you selecting? Are you the original developers remaking it? Is it the same team? There's I think there's a bit of a risk there.
Yeah, that actually brings up something that I didn't think of either. But so Resident Evil 2 was kind of one of the, I consider it kind of like the start of these horror classic remakes. And so they've remade Resident Evil 2, 3, 4, and Silent Hill 2. And you bring up the point of like risk and, are you going to upset your fan base? Well, the thing is, Resident Evil 2 did so well that all the other games basically just copied it. They basically said, we're going to do the exact same style. It's going to be the exact same, over the shoulder, third person camera. We're going to do very similar gameplay. And so it's much safer to say, we're going to do like a carbon copy of what's been remade already. Um, and I think they play it safe by doing that.
Yeah.
Um, And that's something actually the Electric Railroads, or I said that again, the Electric Underground says, is he says all these remakes have a lot more in similar with each other than they have with their original source material. And I kind of agree with that.
You're talking about like all these remakes that kind of like
These
piggyback
horror
each other and they're in
remakes,
their
yeah.
own circle, versus how close are they to what they're remaking itself?
Yeah. I think a lot of what I'm seeing it with is in like the horror genre specifically, um, because that's what's kind of hot and popular right now.
Gotcha. No, yeah. I never played Silent Hill or Resident Evil. Except like I think we all played Resident Evil, like an arcade machine or something like that. Like we've all tried
House
it.
of the Dead
Yeah, House of the Dead.
was a good one.
But uh, what is the biggest change? Let's take Silent Hill 2 as our example.
Yeah.
What is the biggest change from Silent Hill, the original Silent Hill 2 original, to Silent Hill 2 remake? Is it story? Is there anything in the story that's massively different, or is it just game mechanics? What is it about it that the remake is like? I understand graphics, that's one, but
Yeah.
like, what else to it makes it a remake versus a remastered?
Well, I think one thing that makes it a remake is you're rebuilding the game in an entirely different engine than was originally created in.
Yeah,
Um, and one of the things about all these horror remakes is the originals. A lot of them had this fixed camera. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. It's like a third person fixed camera. Um, and you're basically like you see the whole screen and you're running around the screen, and then you'll like go to the edge of the screen and then it will cut to a different camera angle.
yeah, I play games like that. Yeah,
And so that's one of the biggest differences, I would say. And what's interesting is I used to not like those fixed camera angles until I forced myself to start playing the originals of these Resident
Mhm.
Evil games, and I found that they are actually phenomenal. They're amazing, and they do a lot with the storytelling. And when you have a fixed camera, you can't peek around corners, and so a lot of the times I'll like run into a room and I'll hear like the zombies around the corner, but I can't see them. I'm like, okay, do I like run around the corner and are they going to be like in my face,
yeah,
or do I wait for them to maybe walk towards me until I can see them? And it adds like this very interesting layer of suspense that I really didn't appreciate until I really dove into it and started playing these games.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now that makes a lot of sense. Of yeah, like looking around the corner, definitely perfect for a horror type game of let's have a fixed camera, and so you have to expose yourself and get yourself in a potentially bad
Yes.
situation. So you're kind of rolling the dice of what's the probability there's something here and I'm gonna, kill myself, or I have to do it because I have to progress through the game type thing. And so yeah, that's a really good point with the camera angle things.
Yeah.
Um, so to sum it up though, on your opinion about remake culture, are you a fan of it? What would you change? What is like your overall synopsis? You say like this is what I feel about remake culture.
Yeah. I'm a fan of it. I like the remakes. It really got me into the series of Resident Evil, especially. I had played Resident Evil 4, but when I played the Resident Evil 2 remake, like it really hooked me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it's good. I think it's a good thing. It's fun. It's nice to see a retelling of these old stories. Um, I do have some issues, but overall, I feel like I enjoy them. I don't have a
Nice.
big problem with them. So I approve. Stamp of approval.
Yeah. So if I were to say I'm going to go play Silent Hill 2, which will never happen by the way, because I hate horror games, but if I were to say,
You
hey,
should.
I'm going to go play Silent Hill 2, you would say the remake over original.
Um, I might say the original. Well, to be honest, I've never played Silent Hill 2, the original or the remake.
All right, then let's
So
do Resident Evil. So if I could have a Resident Evil, do you
the
like the
original, man.
original? Has got to go.
No,
Well,
I don't know. I mean, like I said, they're so different. It's kind of what you got, like just what you think you'll enjoy more. If you're gonna try like playing the original, and they call it the tank controls because you're just running around a fixed camera room. If that's going to drive you crazy, then maybe it's just not for you, and you
Yeah.
might prefer the remake. But there's just something about those originals that, I mean, they're classics for a reason. They're really good.
Do you think is there a game that you've heard about, even if you didn't play it, that you feel like the remake screwed it up?
Hmm. Not
Like
that
it
I can
failed
think
as a
of.
remake.
Yeah, not that I can think of. You know, I played all these Resident Evil remakes. Resident Evil 3 was a bit of a letdown. When I played the original, there's just a lot more content. Um, and, everybody kind of has the same opinion about the remake for 3. It felt like they're like, Resident Evil 2 remake sold well. Let's just get another one out there. And they feels like they kind of cut corners on it. They cut a lot of content and it didn't feel as full.
Yeah, because I never realized this though. I don't think I've ever played a remake. Now I've been the whole time we've been talking about this was like, when was a game that I played a remake, and so it's a different story or it's a different like mechanic to it type thing. I
Yeah.
believe I tried a little bit of Final Fantasy VII, and so that's a
Okay.
remake. Completely
Yeah.
different engine, all that type of stuff. But I didn't get far in Final Fantasy VII, which I want to though. But it goes back to what you were saying, where the amount of hours you have to put into it to like get
Yeah.
into it,
That's a long game.
and then there's Rebirth after that, and I just haven't sat down and had the time to get into a Final Fantasy game. I tried the
Yeah.
MMO for a little bit, and that was fun for a second, but there's too many other IPs that I want to get through that I'm more into. Like I'm more like well versed in the universe, like Star Wars. Like if the reason what took me away from Final Fantasy 14 MMO is because I know too much about Star Wars and I like Star Wars too much, and I haven't like completely done enough in Star Wars: The Old Republic. So it was just like, why am I playing Final Fantasy 14 when I really love Star Wars? And so I think
Yeah.
that's the same thing with these other games with like Final Fantasy 7 is I just have too many other games that I know that I like, and I just for some reason haven't like completed it fully. So, but again, I just keep hearing amazing things about Final Fantasy, and like there's just a lot
Yeah.
of people say, "Man, you need to get into Final Fantasy" type thing. And so one of these days, I'm going to get into it. Have you gotten into Final Fantasy ever? Is there any number of Final Fantasy games that you ever played?
I have not played a single Final Fantasy game,
Yeah.
but I will tell you that a lot of the old ones, you can buy them on mobile.
Oh
So
yeah.
if you want to like play like on the, as you're going about your day, you could get it on mobile.
That's a lot. No, they're a lot of fun. I tried KOTOR 1 and 2, Star
Right.
Wars: Knights of the Old Republic on
Yeah.
mobile. I couldn't do it. I didn't like. I hate mobile games where you require your thumb to move
Really?
at the
Yeah.
they put like a joystick, like it's a circle, and you use your thumb to like move
Yes.
it.
Yeah, they do.
I don't like mobile games like that. I think Star Wars Hunters just came out. I'd rather play that on the Switch than play it mobile. It's just I don't like the movement of the thumb. I don't really like mobile games in general, so there's that. But so,
I don't either, but I did play Dragon Quest 1 and 2 on mobile, and it's a pretty good port.
oh yeah,
I get what you're saying about like the thumb joystick. Like it was kind of annoying at times, but overall it was pretty good.
Mhm. And also going back to what we're saying is like there is a positive to mobile games because it's like I've got 20 minutes. I know, like, or like, whatever it might be. I don't want to start up my PlayStation up and get into because I'm not 100% sure that my wife's not going to call me right now because she needs help or something like that. So mobile games are kind of nice where like I like small little break. If I've got a meeting at work that starts in 5 minutes and there's nothing for me to really do before that 5 minutes, I think that's fine to pull out like a mobile game to like do. So the game I actually have on my phone right now, is what we were talking about earlier, is inspired by you. I downloaded the Pokemon trading card game, and
Yeah.
I am trying to learn about Pokemon a little bit more. And this game is a phenomenal job. It really holds your hand, explaining like the card system, and it explains like every little aspect to it.
Yeah.
They have a little bit of creative way of like how you get cards. Um, I'm used to more like I played the Star Wars Galaxies of Heroes game on mobile, and that one, uh, it's like a lot of work just to get a character, which is basically a card. Where the Pokemon ones, basically every 12 hours, like you just open up a new pack
Opening
and
pack, yeah,
yeah, keep going. Um, so that I don't know that one's been a lot of fun. I like the Pokemon thing, but I don't.
it's pretty
I mean,
good.
I can go a few days without playing it, and I'll open up it back up again, type of thing. I'm just not a mobile gamer. I've always been a PC, Xbox, and PlayStation and Switch guy, but mostly Xbox
Yeah,
and PC.
yeah. I don't love playing mobile games either, but with games like the Pokemon trading card game, it feels different. It feels like a different kind of game, and I can get more into it because it's just like, okay, I open it twice a day. I open my pack. I might do a
Mhm.
battle, and then I'm just kind of done. But if I'm really, I don't consider that like gaming though. Like if I
Yeah,
consider
I
myself
agree.
like I'm gonna sit down and play a game, I'm not like opening the Pokemon game on my phone. Like I sit down at my computer or my PlayStation or Xbox.
No, no, exactly. Yeah, gaming for me is more like there's different levels of gaming. There's like we've talked about this before. There's the competitive gaming. Like I'm gonna go play Fortnite. I'm gonna go play Call of Duty. I'm gonna play Rocket League, and that's the competitive aspect. There is other aspects of like I want to do just the story mode campaign. Like that's it, and that's the type of game I'm gonna go into. Then
Yeah,
there's other like progressive games where like you're just like maybe Elden Ring is a good example where there is a story, but most of the time, like the majority of the fun that comes from it is not that you're trying to progress in the story. It's just like you want to level up your character, or
yeah,
uh, Breath of the Wild has that where you're trying to level up your armor, and there is a story, and maybe you've already beaten it, but you don't. That's not why you stop playing. You keep playing because you want to keep that progression level kind of going up, type thing. And those are the aspects of those kind of three categories. Of what I think is like gaming to me, which is you
yeah,
like to like you're being competitive or you're trying to progress or there's a story you want to just sit and listen to. I've gotten to survival games lately that I like those a lot. But I'm
really.
always
Like
going to be just
what?
it's called Valheim. Um,
I
I'm
didn't know
gonna
you're playing these.
yeah.
This
Hold
is
on one second.
news
I'm
to
gonna look
me.
one second. This is a really good game. Highly recommend it. Actually, this is another game I'm gonna recommend. I'm gonna screw up the name and it's gonna bother me here. Yeah, Valheim. So Valheim is if you go to Google that, it's the Bog Witch. I don't know what it costs now because I already bought it on Steam, but the concept is you died and you're like in the Norse god thing, and there's like you're in this realm and there's a mission for you from Odin, and you have to start from scratch by building a hut and house, and like there's little missions you got to go on, little creatures come and try to attack you, so you got to be ready for that. So you have to build stuff in time. So think of other survival games like Ark, I think is another one,
Yeah,
but massive downgrade in graphics, and that's kind of the point. Almost a Minecraft feel to it, but not as low as that. But
interesting.
um, yeah, it's I'm having a blast with it. I stopped because I moved. Remember, like I was playing it like right up to the point where I moved, and so I don't know. Again, I don't know why I haven't picked it back up, but that's a lot of fun. I like survival games a lot.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that about you.
It's
Did
a
you end up?
recent thing. Like I'm telling, like this is one of the few, if only, games I've ever
Yeah,
played of survival style games. It inspired me. I wanna get into Ark. Ark. There's a Netflix series with Russell Crowe is actually a part of the creators
really.
on it. Yeah, it's
Russell
called
Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Yeah.
Oh
Um,
man,
it
I've
got
not
bad
heard about
reviews if I remember right, and I forgot why.
this.
But
So it
Russ,
means you got to watch it all the way through, right?
yeah, I watched all the way through and give you my opinions on everything like that.
Oh my
Oh,
gosh.
what was another one? There's a Tomb Raider series on Netflix I haven't watched either. It's like this
Oh,
animated.
the animated one. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't watch a lot of shows. I'm actually
yeah,
finally, like years late. I'm finally watching Stranger Things, and
nice.
so
Yeah, you're
like
talking about
for October, I binge watched seasons 1 and 2, and now I'm like slowly starting season 3. But I am
that.
so behind on that.
No, I went. I am definitely a big TV show watcher. But like again, I moved. I have this new job that requires a lot more of my hours, and so I have noticed I watch a lot less.
Yeah.
Uh, my wife, as you know, she doesn't speak English. She only speaks Spanish. So when we watch something, I got to make sure there's like an audio, like or subtitles in Spanish,
Yeah.
and that could like limit what's available to us to watch
Gotcha.
together.
Yeah.
But these type of nerdy stuff though, like she's never in. So like I'm gonna watch a Star Wars thing. She's like, go have fun. Like it's all right. So Tomb Raider, I want to watch that. I never played. I played Tomb Raider. There was a one that got released on Xbox once, and I did play it. I beat it, fully enjoyed it. I think it was like 2010 is when it was released. So
I
it
think
was
2013.
was that one?
Yeah, so they like rebooted the series and they made 3 games and I played them all. They're really good. I
Yeah,
really enjoy them. So they're not remasters or remakes. They're like reboots.
yeah, it's a reboot.
It's
Yeah,
like basically Laura Croft. She's a Tomb Raider. Let's write completely new stories.
yeah. I didn't have a PlayStation as a kid, so I didn't have like the original like
I didn't
Tomb
either.
Raiders. Yeah, I knew the Angelina Jolie movies, and that was like, and I know my friends played Tomb Raider, so that was like my knowledge of Tomb Raider. And then I played the one game, like I said, I guess it was like 2013. I beat one of those games, and that's kind of the extent of my Tomb Raider knowledge.
Yeah,
And so yeah, I'd be interested to watch the TV series and kind of give an opinion on it and stuff like that. But um, it's yeah, it's hard. Like it goes back to time. Time's hard. Like
yeah,
finding time for things, which is again, I want to hone down with this website and with us talking is it's not just cost, it is time. Like I want to help people with both things of like what's the best bang for your buck, but also, hey, if you don't have a lot of time, here is like ranking order of like this is what you need to play. Like that's going to be the most best for your like entertainment value for dollar wise, but also time wise. Because how many like all of us, every gamer has a huge long queue of just video games they haven't finished, right? And they haven't gotten to, and then they start another one. And I was actually sad.
yeah.
I just opened up my Steam library, and I'm like, dang, there's a lot of games on here that I bought that I haven't finished here. Like
You got a
Faster
lot of
Than Light
sales.
is a really great little
Oh,
tiny game.
yeah, I've heard
Love
of
that
that.
game. Um, oh yeah, I played. I bought for my daughter and I Harry Potter Quidditch of Champions. Not fun. Like I've got. That's got to be like our next episode. I've got so many opinions of the
Harry Potter
Harry Potter
games.
Quidditch Champions game. There's pros and cons to it. Like it's not all cons. Like there's a lot of pros to it. Probably my most expensive game that I'm mad that I bought was the Lego Star Wars, the new one, the Skywalker. I bought that at full price. I think I
Oh
played
man,
a half hour of it, and that's it. Like, I'm gonna click on it and see how many hours.
Kyle, you got to learn. You don't buy anything at full price,
Yeah, it was Star Wars.
except
I was
Switch games
excited.
because they never go on sale.
I guess I had more time. It says 4.5 hours. I think that's just because I probably put it on pause and I walked away or something like that, and like the time's still going.
Yeah,
And
you left it
um,
open too long to refund.
yeah, it was July 18th. This was the last time I played the game, but yeah, I got a long list of these games, and I'm like, man, I got to get to that. I got to get to that. Titanfall 2. I still haven't finished
Oh my
Titanfall
gosh,
2.
Kyle. Okay, that's for another time. But Titanfall 2 is hands down one of my favorite games of all time.
I loved it. It
Easily
was
top
such a
10.
great concept. Like I know what happened. I don't know if I told you the story where I built my PC right,
Yeah.
and but I cheaped out on the power. What do you
Oh,
call this?
right.
Yeah, and so the game, it was at this time, it's like 2018 or something. I'm playing it, and then my like what? Why can't I remember the term? What's the power box that yours? What is that called? But you know what I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
I didn't have enough power coming to my PC, so like the game would just shut off and just keep shut off. I'm like frick, and I was a poor college student at the time, and so like that wasn't gonna be. I can't go race out to Best Buy to go pick something up. And so it just I was just like, I guess I'm not playing this. And then I finally got a job, money, blah blah blah, and rebuilt my PC where it's really good now. And I just never got back to it, but it was so good. It like the concept of where, if you remember, I got to the level where he would jump from time, like he was going
Yes.
through, and he can see like from
Such a good
before,
level.
where it's
Yeah.
like civilians walking around, and then it's like a post-apocalyptic type look of the building. And yeah, I want to research that to see like why isn't there a Titanfall 3, or like why didn't that series continue? Because yeah, phenomenal game. Like
Oh,
really
a
loved it.
lot of people really want it. So it's kind of a sad story, and it's kind of the state of modern gaming. Is I forget the company, but they basically started Apex Legends, which is in the Titanfall 2 or the Titanfall universe, not just Titanfall 2, but
Oh really? Apex Legends? I didn't know that.
yeah. And so it's like it's a free multiplayer online game. I mean, I feel like free to play multiplayer games are kind of like the biggest games right now. And so they're making a killing off of Apex, and they're like, well, why would we make Titanfall 3 if, you know, games with a campaign, they just don't make us as much money as like supporting online multiplayer.
Yeah, and I understand the problem. It's what like a lot of developers keep talking about, and it's why Hogwarts Legacy was the number one selling video game in 2023. And immediately Warner Brothers was just like, yeah, that was great, but we're gonna make it live service. And that's what we're gonna do with Hogwarts Legacy too, is they're trying to make it live service game. Because companies
Yeah.
like, because I understand it, like you put a lot of work into a cutscene, let's say,
Yeah.
phenomenal cutscene, it looks great for the story, whatever. Once you're in, if you're in a story mode campaign, that's it. You're done with that cutscene and you move on to the next. When I play something, let's say like Rocket League right now, there's like a cool little like, I don't know, effect of like you score a goal and there's fireworks that come out of the goal or whatever. That gets reused over and over and over and over again. That
Yeah.
animation, like over and over, because you're playing a style of game that it's not some linear story or whatever. It's a competitive game, so that's why every game company would love to switch to live service. And I've got a lot of opinions why that's a terrible idea for most of these game companies, because I think there's only a certain number of people that play live service games. And so you have that group of
Yeah.
people that's
They've already
set.
got their game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've got their game and they're addicted, which is great for parents, right? Because they're like, I only have to buy my kid this one video game. They're happy for a while.
We
And
don't even
then,
have to buy it a lot of the time.
yeah, mostly they're free, hoping that they're gonna, buy his skins or whatever, which a lot of parents do, and it's why these companies are making so much money. But the thing is, if you're gonna create another one, you have to one make it addicting enough where it's gonna pull people from that other game, right? And then
Yeah.
two, you have to make it so that it's so good that not only did you pull someone from that other game, is that they'll stop playing that other game
Yeah.
and now focus on your game. And it's because that's what you like. We're just talking right now. I'm playing a bunch of different games right now. I'm not like hooked and set on one game. The most I play is Rocket League, which is I think is like the biggest. I don't know if you call that live service game, but that's the one with its
I
seasons and things like
guess,
that.
yeah. I would
And
say so.
that's the one that's because I don't have time for Fortnite. Why? Because I play Rocket League. Or why? Because I've got other things going on. I know there's not a lot of people who play multiple live service games. So as a company, we're going to build another live service game. It's got to be unique and it's got to be different and it's got to be able to attract a certain audience. So if you're going to be Concord and build the literally the exact same thing as Overwatch,
Yeah.
you got to hope that that game is going to be one somehow more appealing, which it's not. It's like like it's the same game. It's 5v5, and then two, like it's just you're gonna grab that same audience and they'd be like, what, this is better. Forget Overwatch. I'm gonna play Conquer. No, and that's why it failed, and that's why it was the shortest lived AAA game we've ever seen. It's because it was
Yeah.
it. They're trying to copy it, and you're gonna lose more money chasing that dollar than you would if you just stick to good, solid stories each time. It is more work, but I think there is a more of a guarantee of that aspect. Yeah, sure. If you were able to find the jackpot and made an addicting live service game, Minecraft, Fortnite, you're set, right? You don't need to make more. Or you just mentioned Apex, and sadly, that's why according to you, the Titan 3 is not coming. I get that, and if you can find that, great. But I think the amount of companies trying to do this, trying to find a game where they're going to be set for years, they'll lose so much more money trying to do that, and possibly, more likely, never achieve it. And I liken it to if you yourself were to win the jackpot, and for me to be like, okay, all I need to do is keep buying lottery tickets because like eventually I'll be set for life once I hit the jackpot. It's
Yeah.
like to me, it's almost the same thing. Like, do you know how hard it is to build a live service game that's actually addicting? Like here's the way how you can know how hard it is. I don't know if do you remember this when I took a picture of this. I got this dumb couch in front of my computer, and I was set to play Marvel Avengers. And I remember I was so excited. I took a picture of it and everything like that, sent it to you guys. And this huge, stupid couch. I was like, I got my weekend planned, and I was just like, this is what I was going to do. I remember this is actually what made me want to like start like a YouTube channel, because I was going to dedicate it to Marvel Avengers, and that was it. I bought the game, everything like that. It was going to be a live service game. I beat the game in less than a day, and then you start replaying the mission. It was the dumbest thing. I was like, this is the dumbest game. And how is it that the most popular IP, I feel, at the time in 2018 or 19? Yeah, this is 2019 or 2020. It was the most popular IP. It's Marvel. Like, we're talking about like Endgame just happened. Like, also, it's Marvel, and that game failed. Like
Yeah.
the live service is not an easy thing to do. You had access
No.
to Marvel, and you built again, which wasn't terrible, by the way. It had its moments, but that's how hard live service games are to make. And it's not Kill the Justice League right now. Awful game, beyond terrible. It's the worst game. The Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is the worst game, and it's because they're trying to shoot for live, like for this live service stuff. It's not easy, and I think companies need to stop chasing that dollar. There's other ways to entertain us, and I think campaigns and stories is the way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to talk about live service in a future episode because, I mean, I've seen clips of Concord. First off, I heard how awful it was, and then I saw clips of it. I'm like, this doesn't look like the gameplay does not look that bad.
Oh, game like mechanics wise, it looked actually
Yeah,
clean. Yeah,
it
like
actually
really
looked
clean.
like really good.
Yeah,
I thought the characters were ugly, but the thing is, like,
that's the
yeah,
number one complaint, right? It's the characters were ugly, like
and
the,
nobody's
the
gonna
color
like,
palettes was
yeah,
really off.
nobody's just gonna leave Overwatch and say, "Oh, I'm gonna play Concord," especially when it was like $40. I mean, I think Overwatch had a price tag too, but a lot of
But
these games are,
Overwatch was already established, so that was the
yeah, it
thing.
was already
Overwatch,
established.
and that's why the biggest scam in video game history is Overwatch 2. When you bought Overwatch 2, there's no difference. Go play Overwatch 2. Have you played it? Like, play Overwatch 1 versus Overwatch 2. There's no difference. Biggest scam in video game history, in my opinion. And people paid money to play Overwatch 2. It finally went out for free, but it
Yeah,
was just like, but it was because it was already established. So Concord was literally trying to compete with Overwatch. Why would I
yeah,
play Concord over if I'm already addicted to Overwatch? Are you hoping you're all of a sudden going to start enticing new players for a brand new IP that doesn't exist, and you're going to entice players to play it? It's insane. It's like it was the dumbest business decision I've ever seen. And there was talk that it was supposed to be like the new Star Wars for Sony.
yes,
Like
yep.
Sony thought it was going to be their Star Wars. I'm just like, who'd you talk to? I would have told you that. Like,
Talk to.
you could come talk to me. Like, I will tell you. I would have told you exactly how well this game had done. I saw it from the moment I saw the first trailer. I was like, this is gonna flop. Like, there was like no like doubt in my mind. What I was surprised about was how bad it flopped. Like, that's what I couldn't have told you. I couldn't have told you how Cool Game Battles flopped, but I definitely could have told you like this isn't gonna succeed. Hogwarts, Quidditch Champions live service game. I can tell you, it's not gonna succeed. They will shut down the servers at some point really soon. And I know Harry Potter very well. I love Quidditch. I love everything about Harry Potter, as you already know. And I can tell you right now that game will not succeed. And I knew that too. I got one of the test demo things, what are called? Like, they give you a beta code to be a beta tester. And I played it with my daughter, and I knew playing it,
It's not
this
gonna
isn't gonna
last.
it's
Yeah,
not gonna last.
so fascinating. Yeah, but
So what do you think,
yeah,
Cam?
good episode. Thanks for chatting.
Love
It's
it,
always
man.
good to chat with you, man. Because
Always good, dude.
yeah, I mean, because maybe the viewers don't know, but this is pretty much like our time to catch up.
That's how we catch
Is
up.
this episode every week. We kind of text a little bit, but this is where we actually talk. So it's always
All
good
right.
chatting with you.
Awesome, man. All right. I'll catch you next week.
Okay, we'll see ya.